In the rolling hills of a land of Ukamba, there lived a man named Jasper Thorne. He was a Mzungu, a white man, who had come from a cold, distant island called Britain. Jasper was a man of two faces, much like the river that gives life but can also drown. His first face was that of a relentless worker. Oh, how he toiled! He woke with the sun, his hands, though soft at first, grew hard and calloused. He cleared the bush, planted maize that stood tall and proud, and raised cattle that were the envy of the village. His farm was a green jewel in the red earth. The people of the nearby village, while wary of his ways, respected his dedication to the soil. The elders would say, "He speaks to the earth with his plow, and the earth listens." But Jasper had a second face, one he showed when the sun began to set and the day's work was done. He was a man with a fire in his loins that he could not quench. He loved women, not with the love of a husband or a protector, but with the hunger of a leopard. He would charm the widows with his strange accent and coins from his pocket. He would whisper sweet, empty promises to the young maidens fetching water. And most darkly, most shamefully, he had a twisted preference for girls who were barely budding into womanhood, girls whose laughter was still light with childhood. He believed their youth held a secret power, a freshness that could rejuvenate his own aging body. The village mothers warned their daughters, "Do not walk near the Mzungu's farm when the shadows grow long. He has a sweet tongue but a hollow heart." One afternoon, while digging a new irrigation trench near the ancient old tree that marked the edge of his land, Jasper's hoe struck something with a dull, heavy clump. Annoyed, he dug around it, his hands clawing at the soil. What he pulled out made his breath catch in his throat. It was a pot, ancient and intricately carved, so heavy he could barely lift it. With trembling fingers, he pried off the lid. Inside, gleaming with a fire that seemed to drink the very sunlight, was a fortune in raw gold nuggets and dust. It was a king's ransom, a treasure buried by forgotten hands from a time when empires traded in salt and gold. Jasper fell to his knees, not in gratitude, but in greed. He looked around furtively, ensuring no one had seen. He dragged the pot to his barn, buried it deep beneath the hay, and his heart began to beat a new, frantic rhythm, the rhythm of limitless possibility. With the gold, Jasper's life transformed. He did not build a school or a clinic for the village, as the elders had hoped a wealthy man might. No. He built a sprawling, white-walled mansion. He bought a fleet of shiny, roaring cars that kicked up dust on the village arts. He imported fine wines and silks from across the sea, but his greatest spending was on his vice. The wealth became his magnet. Women from far and wide, drawn by the tales of his riches, flocked to his mansion. The parties were legendary, loud music, flowing drink, and debauchery that made the village elders shake their heads in sorrow. And now, with his newfound power, his pursuit of the young girls became more brazen. He would offer their poor family staggering sums of money, a bag of gold dust for a night with their daughter. Desperate poverty often forced tragic choices, and Jasper, the vulture, feasted. An old medicine woman, Mama Keji, saw what was happening. She went to his gate one day, her face a map of wrinkles and wisdom. "Farmer Thorne," she said, her voice like the rustling of dry leaves. "This gold is a blessing from the earth itself. But the earth gives with one hand and watches with 1,000 eyes. You are using its gift to poison the stream of life. You are taking the young buds before they can ever flower. This will bring a curse upon you." Jasper, drunk on palm wine and arrogance, laughed. "Old woman, your curses cannot touch me. My money is my magic. It buys me everything I desire." Mama Keji fixed him with a steady gaze. "There are some things that no amount of gold can buy, Mzungu. Health is one. A peaceful soul is another. And a dignified end is the greatest of all." She turned and walked away, leaving a silence that was heavier than his pot of gold. Soon after, a strange weariness began to creep into Jasper's bones. A persistent cough settled in his chest. Rashes bloomed on his skin like ugly flowers. The vibrant man who could work all day and party all night now found himself exhausted by noon. The local doctor he paid could find no pulse, and the medicines from Europe did nothing. One night, burning with a fever, Jasper had a dream. A magnificent serpent, its scales the color of beaten gold, poured around the ancient old tree. Its voice was a hiss that filled his mind. "Jasper Thorne," it said. "I am the spirit of this land, the guardian of its treasures. I gave you the gold, the sweat of the earth's brow, for I was impressed by your labor. But you have used my gift to break the sacred cycle. You take the young, who are the future, and leave them withered. You have not sown new seeds of kindness, only reaped a harvest of pleasure. The body you sought to strengthen with youth, you have instead filled with a slow fire that will consume you. The very gold you cherish will now be your chains." Jasper woke up in a cold sweat, the serpent's words echoing in his soul. He knew it was true. He was sick, and he knew with a terrifying certainty from what. The dreaded, slimming disease, the sickness that had no cure, that the villagers spoke of in hushed tones. He had HIV. The money that was once a key to every door became a prison. He spent fortunes on doctors in Nairobi, London, and Johannesburg. The gold nuggets were traded for vials of medicine that could only delay, not defeat. His strong body withered. The women who once flocked to him now fled in fear. The mansion grew quiet, its only occupants being the paid nurses who wore masks and gloves, and the silence that screamed his loneliness. He would sit on his veranda, looking out at his fertile farm, now overgrown with weeds. He could see the children of the village playing in the distance, their healthy, joyful shouts carried on the wind, a cruel reminder of what he had stolen and what he had lost. The gold was still there, but it was useless. He could not eat it, it could not heal him, and it could not buy him a single moment of the genuine love and peace he now desperately craved. The pot of gold, which he had once thought was his greatest fortune, was now just a pot full of his impending death. Jasper Thorne died alone in his large, empty bed. The last thing he saw was not the faces of loved ones, but the glint of a gold nugget he kept on his bedside table, its cold, yellow light the final thing his eyes beheld. When the villagers found him, they buried him without ceremony on a corner of his farm. The elders, led by Mama Keji, retrieved the pot of gold. "This wealth was tarnished by his actions," Mama Keji declared. "But the earth's gift itself is not evil. We shall cleanse it with purpose." They used the gold to build a clinic to treat the very sickness that had killed Jasper, and a school for the children, especially the girls he had preyed upon, to give them knowledge and power. The mansion was torn down, and the land it stood on was allowed to return to wilderness.